Hello again there folks, Lone Adventurer here. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon my channel and joining me for this adventure. Today isn't going to be a playthrough as such, it's going to be a look at a game that is hitting Kickstarter or is currently on Kickstarter depending upon when this video is released. It's called Just Roll With It. It is going to be published by a new company called ParadoxPort, and it is a kind of gaming experience that I have not come across before. Perhaps it's not the first, but it's the first that I've seen. It combines solo role-playing approaches with scientific self-improvement topics, I guess you could say, along the lines of behaviour change and habit formation, and encourages combining those two aspects, the fantasy, role-playing, solo gaming, with those scientific approaches to self-improvement to, in the words on the front cover here, become the hero of your own story. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around. We're going to have a little flick through and we'll find out what it is all about. Before we get to that, can I ask you to consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the bell notification icon if you want to find out about other games like this one here. This copy I've got here, it should be said, is a prototype copy. I don't think it contains everything, and it's already quite a chunky tome, but there's more to come, I believe, and it's going to be even more substantial than this. If you are the sort of person who likes self-improvement and, you know, getting things done and making your life better, then this is something that will appeal to you. And I guess for those reasons, it's something that kind of appeals to me. I think I've reached a point in my life where I want to utilize the time that I have to do as much as I can. And sometimes I found that makes my day-to-day life a little overwhelming as I try and do perhaps too many things. So Just Roll With It for me came around at quite an opportune time, and I have so far found using its systems and playing the game to be quite an interesting experience. So what have we got in here? Let's do a very quick overview. We have got a prelude section because this is a game, a system that encourages you to get straight into it. So you open this book, you are presented with the day one text, and you read through it, you follow some instructions, and you're immediately sort of into the game, and you don't have to read any rules or guidance in that sense beyond these initial pages. And then there's a little summary. And it follows that pattern for several days. We've got 4 days. 4 days or 3 days? 3 days of introductory activities. It gradually drip feeds the systems and the information to you and guides you through those initial days of working through what this game has in store for you. Once you're through that, we've got a quick start guide, and this is essentially just a summary of the rules, I guess, as they have been outlined to you. So as you can see, there's not much to it. If you're the sort of person who is intimidated by complex rule sets, there's nothing to worry about here really. Everything you need to know is basically summarised on these 2 pages here. Once we're through that, we've got our heroes. So we've got our heroes. We'll look at these closer in a second. We've got a character sheet. We've got the map of the world, the Glimmerwood, the world in which this game occurs. Then we've got the Arcanum. And this is where we start to think about the more scientific aspects of this game. Depending upon the character class that you choose, you will have a different path to achieving your goals. So as part of your journey towards becoming the hero that you can be, you are learning certain key spells Those are the ones represented by these symbols, and you can see here that I have been learning the spell of the habit loop, and I've actually progressed quite well through that. So each of the spells has a page in the Arcanum. For example, here's the habit loop page. You have to sort of summarize the spell, as it were, and then complete certain challenges related to that spell. And if we turn to the back of this book here, this is where the real sciencey stuff is. The spells are the techniques that you can learn in order to improve. So we've got the scroll of choice architect, the scroll of commitment devices. I've no idea what that means. I haven't learned that one. Here's the scroll of the habit loop. So you're given some fairly easily digestible sort of scientific writing about that particular technique, that particular spell. So you read through that, then you update your Arcanum and progress your character in that fashion. And this is the journaling heart of the game. I'm not going to show you any of the pages I have completed because I'm shy and I've got notes that I've written on them. We'll take a closer look at this in a moment, but let's just push forward. I think this is going to have a lot more pages in it in the actual version. This demo version only contains a fraction of the number of journaling pages. That's about what happens if you die. Then we've got some side quests. If you move into a location that doesn't have a specific encounter, you might end up doing a side quest. You can randomize these in any way that you want, or you can just pick one specifically that you fancy doing. And these are all sort of fantasy themed within the style of the world that the designer has created. But they all have a sort of real world practical application that will help you make things in your life a little bit better, as it were. So, for example, the message of the falcon. You meet a strange woman with a falcon perched on her shoulder. At your quizzical look, the falconer tells you her story, which illustrates how a single message can bridge great distances, both physically and emotionally. Realizing the power a single message can have to change the course of history, you decide to send your own missives. So it's quite well written, I'm finding, and broadly speaking, a lot of care has been taken in all aspects of this game. So here we can see your quest is to send a meaningful message. Text, email or letter to 3 people you haven't spoken to. I guess that means in a while. Ask how they're doing, share a memory or suggest a time to catch up. So it's fairly achievable. It's just a nice little challenge that you can set yourself and probably quite easily do. So those are the side quests. Then we have the main encounters. And these are all different and all a little bit interesting, and they are related to the map. So if we find that map again. So on this map, you start up here at the Shrine of Awakening, and then you can move around fairly freely. And you can see some of these squares have a brown outline. Those squares have unique encounters associated with them. So if your character goes to, and each day you move one square, and if you move into one of those unique encounter locations, you turn to the encounters section of the book and experience that encounter. And the runes on here represent the different spells. So if you know you need to learn a particular spell, you can move towards the location where that rune is. So yeah, these are the encounters, and they're all very different. They've all got quite a lot of lore text associated with them, and they can be quite surprising. Some of them give you XP, some of them give you a new scroll, those are the ones with the runes on. Some of them you might lose gold, or some knowledge about the map. I don't really want to look too closely so that we don't spoil anything for us. You gain a soul shard and a magic mirror. But I think with all that said and done, what we need to do is possibly just play out a single day, as it were, and take a look at how it works. Here we go. We are tracking our XP around the side, so I'm just going to mark my current XP level there from the previous page. I'll actually just fill in a couple of other things from the previous page. So I filled out the current number of gold pieces that I have and my hit points down here. So we need to fill in today's date, as you would expect in a journal, and then we'll have a look at what we've got from top to bottom here. We've got an area to outline if you are completing any of the transmutation challenges, and those are the challenges associated with the spells. We're not actually working on a spell at the moment. Probably I need to find my next one pretty soon. Then you've got the Pursue My Calling section. And this is one of the key parts of the journal, if not the key part. You have to decide what sort of challenge you are trying to complete. And that dictates the kind of hero that you should choose. So for example, if you decide that your main area of self-improvement is to improve your physical strength, then you wouldn't be surprised to hear that you should be playing the fighter. And we've got recommended callings here: strength, adventure, endurance, discipline, and health. So if the aspect of your life that you're trying to improve is associated with any of those things, then you'll pick the fighter. So if you want to explore the world around you a little bit more and go on lots of hikes, then maybe you would pick the fighter, as well as adventure is one of the recommended callings. Then the wizard, we've got knowledge, focus, experimentation, wisdom, and clarity. So if you are working towards a PhD, for example, and you want to link your play into that endeavour, then probably you would pick a wizard. Now I've gone for the bard because one of the bard's recommended callings is creativity, and I'm using this game in order to improve the consistency with which I tackle my map drawing endeavours. So in the past I had a good routine going on with my Ways Unseen fantasy map drawing because I had a Patreon, and the Patreon sort of forced me, in a nice way, to regularly produce maps and to experiment and try out new things. But I shut my Patreon down for various reasons, and so I don't have that incentive, and I've still been doing stuff, but I've got a lot of things associated with my sort of Ways Unseen brand that I want to push forward and achieve. And so that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I chose the bard. So in the Pursue My Calling, the expectation would be that we list 3 achievable actions for the day that will progress those efforts, progress you towards your calling of being a bard, and in my case, improving the consistency of my map drawing. So on here, I'm going to write, and this is something I learnt somewhere else, I can't remember where, about setting to-do list targets for yourself. I'm drawing some geomorph tiles at the moment. I'll show them to you in a second. And you could put on here as a target, finish the geomorph tiles. But that could sound a little intimidating, a little overwhelming. And whether I finish them or not is kind of, I might finish them, I might not. I don't necessarily want to place that pressure on myself, especially in the course of a single day when I'm doing lots of other things. So I'm going to use the word progress. Progress the geomorphs. Adding that sort of stipulation on the start of your targets I find that helps generally when I'm writing to-do lists in my day-to-day life as well. And I find little steps as well are quite handy. So if I'm working on a video, then I will write as a target in a day, record the video, or start editing the video, or produce the thumbnail for the video, rather than just saying do the video. Anyway, that's a bit of a sidetrack there, isn't it? So progress the geomorphs. That's going to be one of my targets. You can write 1, 2 or 3. You don't have to write them all. I want to write something else though. What do I need to do today? Okay, I've added a couple of additional targets there. I've added investigate custom CSS on itch.io. I'd noticed that some people have cool effects on their profile pages, and I want to work out how they achieved that, where the features are that allow you to do it. And I've also written a post about bookmark on social media, because one of the things that using this game has allowed me to do is to progress these little adventure bookmarks that I started making a while ago. I'm pretty proud of them, and I've been trying to push them on social media, and I'm doing a shameless plug of them right now, but here we are. And on the back, my partner in crime, Lexiconical, has written some little sort of adventure seeds as well. So today I'm going to investigate the custom CSS, I'm going to progress the geomorphs. Oh, let me show you the geomorphs, and I'm going to post about the bookmarks on social media. Here's my geomorphs. I've got a bunch more, but I thought it'd be nice to have some final sort of boss rooms and some entrance rooms. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. So next up we have a place where we track the location in the realm that we are about to explore. And I have photocopied the realm map, because you have to mark it as you are going, and I'm precious about that sort of thing. So we are going to be moving into E4, which is one of the brown bordered unique locations. So we are going to be having a look at that encounter in a minute, but we're moving into E4. E4 is an encounter, but we've got a little bit more that we can do here. We have got a little journaling prompt. And if you complete the journaling prompt, you get 1 XP, and you note the XP down here in this routines section. So today's prompt is, what's something I'm proud of accomplishing along this journey? So you would complete that, give yourself an XP point. But you can also get XP for doing some kind of physical activity. So I'm going to give myself that straight away, because I've done that. I have done some yoga today, believe it or not, and that counts in my book. So that is 1 XP gained from that routine. And then you can also gain an XP for making camp, essentially taking care of your environment around you, because this is a game that sort of encourages sort of a holistic approach to self-improvement, I guess. And I'm a pretty tidy person, so I've done a bunch of things today already to improve my environment. I've folded up some laundry, I've done some washing up, so I'm giving myself that XP as well. And that's kind of nice. I kind of like getting a little endorphin rush there. You know, I was going to do those things anyway, but now I'm improving my character as a result of doing it. And here in the middle, the final thing we've got is the resolve. Your resolve. And essentially this is a value which is used in certain encounters that you will have, and you keep this boosted up to 3 by completing the calling objectives that you set for yourself. So if I do all 3, I'm currently on 3 because I have been consistently completing my objectives most days. I've dropped one here and there, but then I make it back up the following day. If I complete all 3, I'll stay on 3 points of resolve. If we only do 2, then we'll drop down 1 because we missed out 1. If we only do 1, we'll drop down 2, if you see what I mean. So we'll go down to 1. And if I don't do any of these things, I'll drop down to a resolve of 0. So you have this incentive to keep on your actions, your objectives that you set for yourself here, because if you don't, you weaken the resolve of your character. Right, with all that explained, I think the only thing left to do is to turn to the encounter and see what happens. So we're going to turn to, what was it, E4. So remember, we've got the encounters section here. I don't know if this is all of the encounters or if they're going to be adjusted in any way. I'm not really sure. And we're going to turn to encounter E4. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's not that long a one. Maybe I should have gone somewhere else. Never mind. The Shrine of the Eternal Rest, Part 1. You find yourself in an ancient burial ground scattered with weathered tombs carved from great blocks of granite. You meander around until you stop in front of a tomb with an ornate door and a large keyhole at its centre. The keyhole kindles some recognition. Do you have the bone key? No, I don't. Oh no, I don't have the bone key. We are not going to be able to progress. Alright, well that was somewhat of an anticlimax. That's the first one I've come across where you need an item of some kind in order to access the second part of the thing. I don't want to look at that because I want to keep the suspense for myself. So my character was previously in E5, and then we moved up to E4. So what I might imagine actually was that the previous day when we were in D5, that we moved over into C5 instead. We'll have a quick look at C5. The reason why I came this way is because I need to work on the spell associated with that rune there. So I thought I would go up there for the video and then pop over there tomorrow and then back down for the rune the day after. Incidentally, you don't have to do it every day. It's good to get into a routine of taking on the challenges the majority of days out of any given week, but you can take a day off here and there. Anywho, let's imagine we went over into C5, shall we, and take a quick look at that one. Oh, we've got a challenge of some kind. The Shadow Minion. Twilight's soft embrace envelops you, casting an eerie shade through the dense, gloomy forest you're traversing. You find yourself in a clearing surrounded by twisted, gnarled trees. The air is scented with pine, moss, and something more sinister. As you peer around, a deep silence falls over the forest, all rustling and chirping cut short. The temperature drops, and you feel a palpable dread clawing deep into your core. A dark figure emerges from the shadows at the edge of the clearing. Its form is amorphous, shifting like smoke, with glowing red eyes piercing the gloom. It's obvious this is no friend. This is the darkness, or at least one of his minions. I should have said the darkness is the big bad in the world that you are trying to overcome. You're trying to become the best hero you can be in order to defeat the darkness. It opens a twisted mouth and smiles. I see you, it rattles. You who believes you're better than my master. But you are the same, only weaker, using pathetic spells, trying to become something you're not. I will end this here. The shadow figure hisses and then lunges towards you, its tendrils of darkness reaching out, eager to drag you. So I have to say, quite surprised at how good the writing is in this game. You would think the focus would be on the exploration and on the self-improvement, but the designer has put effort into the writing as well, and that is impressive. So we need a dice. So first of all, we have got a resolve level, and the resolve here is +1. And I believe that means that we can encounter this enemy if our resolve is 1 or more. If our resolve was 0, we would have to run away and we would automatically lose some HP. Down on this table, we're going to compare our level, which is currently 2, I think, with the challenger's level. The challenger's level is 2. So we are aiming to roll 10. And I think the number in the bracket is how much HP we might lose. We will take 4 damage if we lose. And we have taken we've rolled a 3 and we've taken 4 damage. And unfortunately that means we're not going to get the XP and we're not going to get the gold pieces, and we're taking 3 damage. So that's going to take my hit points down to 22 and no gold for us. But there you go, that's an encounter. You also have the side quests, and obviously you also have to be getting those spells in order to learn the skills to improve your character. But there you go, there's a whole map to explore, lots of interesting different encounters involved. But that's basically the long and short of it, folks. That is Just Roll With It. I should have said it is written by Ariel Lavari. It's from ParadoxPort, and there'll be a link to the Kickstarter down below. Hope you enjoyed that, folks. Let me know what you think of this one. I think it's a really unusual little proposition that is doing something different with solo fantasy gaming, tabletop gaming. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.